I am Optimus Prime, and freedom is the right of all sentient beings. And you are watching Pinto Comics on YouTube, which implies that you are either not sentient or you're under the clutches of Megatron.
This is Pint Comics. This is G.I. Gary with a review today. And today I'm going to talk about the Walmart Generation 1 Transformers reissues. And as something that definitely scratches a nostalgic itch, provides an insta collection for somebody that wants to have a new G1 Transformers collection without having to pay the G1 Transformers price on the secondary market. As we all know, Generation 1 Transformers debuted in 1984 and lasted up until the early 90s. And what Walmart went with Hasbro and said, we would like to do reissues. At least I'm assuming that's how the conversation went. And of course, Hasbro is all about making money. And they still have all the molds for these toys, and Takara still has the molds. So it seems like a natural fit for Hasbro to make some more money and Walmart to make money, for collectors to get product that would go well with other items they may have or not have yet in their collection, and also just to provide a sense of nostalgia, something to put on the wall, and give like something good to look at and display, or even play with, potentially with their children. I have, as of early March, the complete Generation 1 reissue collection from Walmart. I have gone out this. I am not a diehard G1 collector, much like I am a G.I. Joe collector. However, I do enjoy the aesthetic. I do enjoy the what they brought in 1984. And as somebody who looks at the Generation 1 Transformers as very expensive, even compared to G.I. Joes in large, there's some things to, just to keep an eye out. And I just want to, some thoughts I've put together, and we can look at what we got here. So as you can see, Walmart has been pretty much concentrating on 1984-1985 series of Transformers. So we have Soundwave, we have the cassettes, we have the mini bots, obviously Optimus Prime, we have Astro Train, we have Starscream here, and then we have the complete reissue of the Devastator gift pack. The lone exception has been 1986's Hot Rod, has been also reissued as well. So one of the big things is, out of all the things, these are very true to the original molds. There are subtle changes, so you can tell them apart. Colors are not exactly the same, so yellows might be a little more orange, or oranges might be a little more yellow. Things to look at there. Copyright marks have been changed, so maker's marks are changed. Also, like some rivets and just very minor things. If you know what you're looking for in a G1 Transformer, you can tell the difference between a Walmart reissue. The other big thing is the packaging. The packaging is also slightly different. So while they exude a Generation 1 vibe, you can go back and then you can see things like the Modern Transformer sticker here. So you can see the Modern Transformer sticker here. So you can see that is subtly different, while maintaining the vintage vibe that you might want for your collection. So let's just go over some little highlights. Optimus Prime obviously isn't coming with this trailer. A lot of people have been upset with that, especially at a $50 price point. Some people have said $50. Is a reissue Optimus Prime worth $50? Ultimately, that's up to the consumer to decide. The consumer also has the added fact of going to Walmart versus going to an online retailer like eBay and seeing what paying for shipping and all added costs and waiting. Whereas at Walmart, you have that. I have it now in my hand. Some of these have been put on clearance. I saw Optimus Prime was reduced. I've seen Hot Rod, by far the one that was most reduced. And I was even able to find a Starscream reduced on clearance at one point. Now, one of the cool things about Starscream, the Starscream issue, especially inside the box, or any of the boxes, the first thing you notice is instead of the old packing foam or the styrofoam, now it's all blow molded clear plastic. So the first thing you do is if you leave your toys in the box on the shelf, you can easily see like, hey, this is a reissue. you got plastic in there, not styrofoam. But the other cool thing about, especially with Starscream, is now he has a gun to hold in his hand. It's a little mini Megatron right there. I haven't taken him out of the box, but you know, the potential's there. But these are good toys. You know, the toys they were in the 1980s, they are in the 2020s. They're exactly same transformations and stuff. Now, one of my biggest things that I love about the Generation 1 Transformers is they are great toys. They allow for a lot of imagination with the child or the adult or anybody. It allows somebody to really imagine, you know, goes on. Also, what helps with the Generation 1 Transformers is they had a really great cartoon that took the toy aesthetic and then animated it. Unlike GoBots, which took the toy aesthetic and then left it as a toy aesthetic in the cartoon. You know, Transformers, the characters turn their heads left and right. GoBots, they turn their bodies left and right to look around. Obviously, which one's going to appeal more long term on that, even though GoBots were first to market. But one of the great things is, and I'll use Optimus Prime here. This is my son's Optimus Prime because he loves cars. He loves cars, trucks, you name it. So the Transformers are actually a good fit for him. So one of the great things about it is, you know, Optimus Prime here, he transforms just the same way. One of the good things about these old Generation 1 toys is the speed of transformation. And it's the speed of transformation with doing it manually, not push a button in a spring activated transformation sequence. So, you know, it still transforms the same. Optimus Prime right here, you know, flip the legs out, flip the feet up, arms out, flip, flip. You go for the kibble, put the gloves on, his feet, hands on, pop in his guns, and boom, you got Optimus Prime. He's transformed in under 15 seconds. And, you know, if you're a kid like me from the 80s, you're also going to do, you know, Autobots roll out, and then you're going to... And then, you know, and you play with it really fast, and he's rolling. You know, that's the great thing about G1 Transformers, the speed of transformation. Because with me, and with Transformers in general, the key gimmick with Transformers is to be able to transform from robot to truck and back again. And I like my Transformers as robots in disguise, where I don't need them in alt mode all the time. I like the fact that they're cars and trucks, and they were based in real world. So, love Optimus Prime. He's good. You know, the speed of transformation, the speed of going. Autobots roll out, you know, and then you transform them, comes back in, boom, boom, boom. And he's already the robot in disguise to roll out. And he's good. He's just, you know, Optimus Prime is one, just probably, he's iconic, and he's just a good robot. And he's a good transformer. He's a great toy. And the other ones are great toys too. They're just as we left them in the 80s, and these are such faithful reproductions. They do evoke a great, just a great play pattern. You know, they have Hot Rod here, and Hot Rod is, you know, same thing, quick, easy. Flip the feet out, pull the legs out. And then, you know, like I said, that's what makes Transformers the best. You know, they're just so cool. Everything and anything can be a Transformer. And you just go about playing. I totally get the appeal of G1 Transformers. Especially as somebody that, you know, had them as a kid. And it always makes sense. But they're simple, they're quick. You know, so these are great toys. Now, the one thing that the Transformers of Generation 1 don't have is they're just not as good as action figures as, let's say, G.I. Joe, with all the posable joints. You know, the heads are stuck in place. So the heads are stuck in place. You know, you're doing that. So, but it's still pretty cool. They're durable, the die cast, you know, they take a beating. They keep on ticking, like a Timex watch. You know, we got tailgate here. You know, the mini-bots, perfect thing. They go well with, you know, especially as a kid, they go well with your Hot Wheels. You throw them in your Hot Wheels bucket, and then you're playing with Hot Wheels, but then you're like, oh no, now I'm playing Transformers. Transform, just great toys. And, you know, like I said, yeah, doesn't matter. But, you know, under 10 seconds, you know, the mini bots. Now I gush about these, but like I said, now what you do have going on also in Transformers today is the Earthrise, Siege lines that are really good at capturing that G1 aesthetic from the cartoon. You know, I got the Target exclusive Ion Storm here, and you know, they're beautiful action figures. But here's the problem I have with these compared to the G1. Beautiful action figures, look beautiful in alt mode, look beautiful in figure mode. I mean, beautifully, you know, posable, going about. But the one thing that they aren't as good at is they aren't. Whoop! See, I left his hands in. You know what they aren't as good at is they aren't as good as the speed of transformation. And to me, as a kid, that would bum me out because I would hate to be that kid. Hold on, he's transforming into a jet. Hold on, let's see. That goes there, and you know, maybe I'm an old fuddy-duddy when it comes to this. You know, but you got a lot of moving parts to transform. I've already transformed those guys 3 times, you know, and I'm struggling with this guy. And it's not just because, you know, and I've played around with him for a bit. I have his 3-pack from Walmart with my Christmas money. But it's just it just takes time, and if I was a kid, I'd be frustrated, you know, by now. I'd be like, yeah, okay, whatever, move me on to the video game, you know. But as a collector today, these are beautiful, like I said, beautiful action figures, you know. But for me, the way I did play pattern is, you know, how fast can I transform them to get into battle, you know. It just doesn't fit. It just doesn't fit the way I play, and it's not a knock against these, or maybe it's just the way I am. You know, maybe I'm getting to that point. You know, things were better in my day. But I mean, like I said, I mean, you know, and this is at least isn't as bad as the movie figures. I think the movie figures are much worse for transforming. I had a couple of those, not for me. But, you know, these are pretty cool, you know, Cybertron Jet. And like I said, this quickly to do that, so quickly. But just not as good to me as a toy as they are a display piece. I think these are more collectors oriented rather than more kid and play oriented. So that's the one thing. So while these are better for toys, they're not as good for, but these are definitely made for collectors too. And I think really one of the other things too is I think really these should be more geared towards kids. I think if you have a kid, introduce them with these G1 toys. Simple to transform. You know, like I said, I took these from my son. He plays with them on occasion. You know, he has other toys too, but he still plays with these. And he's not going to play with something that he has difficulty with. He gets frustrated. He puts it off to the side. Something simple like Legos or, you know, Matchbox, Hot Wheels. You know, zoom them across, yeah, boom, he's in there. It's instant toy gratification. And these G1 toys are great for that. And like I said, these are toys. I know these are geared towards collectors, but if you have the chance to get some of these at a discount, you know, obviously now I'm going to start a little talking about the money. You know, at market, I would say the mini bots, which I think were about $7-8, were a great deal. Great deal. The biggest change I said with Bumblebee here was they changed his head sculpt. So one of the big things they did with Bumblebee was they put his TV head here and they put his figurehead over here. So this is what he came with originally in 1984, but this is the way he looked like in the cartoon. So obviously, you know, they went with the cartoon. You know, that's a major change. But like I said, on the secondary market for Bumblebee, he's a $16 figure already if you didn't get him in Walmart. So, which leads me to another point. So the popular guys here on here are bringing okay money secondary, or they're getting the same amount, let's say on eBay, as they were in Walmart. Some of them are more. You know, Bumblebee's the big exception. For a while, I saw Starscream getting more money than what you paid for at retail. But the big one that I had a hard time getting was Devastator here. The Devastator gift set reissue. and 75 bucks. And the only reason why I got this guy still at the store was he had a bit damaged corner, and nobody wanted the damaged corner. So I got him. I haven't opened him up yet, just because I haven't had a chance to really get my stuff out and display/play with it as much as I would want to. So what does it do for the hobby? Well, what it does is, especially in that case of Optimus Prime, is he's kind of stabilized his price a little bit, or at least for just the cab. You know, so last time I checked, he was a little bit less than retail because he was so expensive, in quotes, so expensive at Walmart. But what he's doing to, let's say, his Generation 1 counterpart, so if you have an original Optimus Prime, or you want to get original Optimus Prime, it stabilized that price because somebody, let's say, like me, who didn't have an Optimus Prime, oh, I got one. And maybe after having the reissue, I'm not going to hunt down the original one. I'm going to be happy with this one because it fills, for me, what I want in a collection, or my Transformers collection. It fills that need. Just, oh yeah, I got my Optimus Prime. You know, I got my Hot Rod. I got my Bumblebee. So what you're seeing is with some of these, it's stabilizing the originals. But pedigrees have pedigrees. You know, if you have an original original 1984 release, pre-rub sign Starscream, it's still fetching fair money. The rub sign, you know, obviously later release is not as much. So the reissues are just stabilizing prices across the board because of being available in the market. So it's offering a collector a choice between an original or a reissue. And some of the originals are commanding very good money. For example, a Wheeljack is well over $100. And that's another thing. So the choice of characters. Now, obviously there are some slam dunk characters that you would want in a reissue here. Obviously, they gambled on Hot Rod, and Hot Rod really wasn't what people wanted. But so where I'm at is, I would be wondering, what? Come on, do more, make it available to me and stuff, you know. But the odd choices for me are in the mini cars. Now, why would you do Outback instead of Brawn? You know, Warpath is a collector guy. He was in the opening of the cartoon. Bumblebee's a no-brainer, and then you got Swerve. You have Gears, and you have Tailgate. I would be looking at, you know, if you have Bumblebee, why not Cliff Jumper? But, you know, I would think that there's better choices than these three, even Cosmos. And then the other thing is, you know, while I do enjoy Astro Train, the one that a neighbor had when I was growing up was Blitzwing, and Blitzwing was badass, and I wish I had Blitzwing instead of Astro Train. So also, by limiting what you're offering, is you're also it's easier to create somebody to become a completionist. Overall, I'm happy these exist. I'm glad Walmart decided to go to Hasbro and says, we want a reissued toy for collectors to come into our toy aisles and buy. You know, and by the way, they're putting them in the toy aisles, not in a collector corner like what Toys R Us was eventually doing. So kids are getting exposed to these toys as well. And to me, that's what's important, because these are great toys. They have a great play pattern, fast to transform. So they're a little chunky in action figure mode, but most kids aren't looking for a superposable action figure. That's something more for a collector standpoint. A collector will look at these more from a nostalgia standpoint. And I'm happy they exist. I think the price points for the mini cassettes and the mini cars was right on target. You know, I don't think $7-8 for the mini cars was too much to spend. Some people are like, oh my gosh, it's so expensive. It's not that expensive when you really look at the price of other toys around in the toy aisle. And it's better than a Matchbox. It's better than a Hot Wheels. It's better than some of the other die-casts, in my opinion. Especially when Hot Wheels with the rubber tires are going for $6-7 themselves. You're getting a cool robot as well. And it's just, I'm happy these exist. I'm happy I'm able to expose my son to these. He's able to play with them, transform them easily, and not get frustrated, and which will also allow him that if he wants to move on to a more detailed line like the Siege and Earthrise lines, if he truly enjoys these Transformers and he truly enjoys Transformers, the Mythos, or whatever appeals to him about Transformers, he can continue on to something a little more adult or age appropriate for him as well. Overall, you know, out of a 6-pack, these are a good solid 4 out of 6 on a 6-pack, which for me, that's like a solid B in like a A through F scale. Does a diehard collector need to get these toys? I don't think so. Does a casual collector? I think these are very appealing to a casual collector, which bumps it up from, let's say, a casual collector would be a C, or something that, an impulse buy. But this would be a little more than an impulse buy when you're starting to be like, oh, what's being released this week, or what's being released this quarter with Walmart. Like I said, so give it a grade B, 4 out of 6 on a 6-pack scale. And that's my review for Generation 1 Walmart Reissue Transformers. This is G.I. Gary. Don't forget to subscribe to the Pint Comics channel. Hit that bell icon to be notified for more videos. And you know what? Don't forget to go to pintofcomics.com to find more articles and more reviews, and just in general, more pop culture news and reviews. So until then, until my next video or until my next article, see ya.
Hey there, this is Hot Rod saying don't forget to hit subscribe for more Pint of Comics videos. And hit that bell icon so you get notifications each time a new video is uploaded. Because if you don't, I just may put my Allspark in danger, forcing Optimus to potentially sacrifice himself. Don't dare me, I'll fucking do it again. I am Optimus Prime, and I am not falling for that moron again.